Ma'am, step aside. Step aside, now.
My flight board's in 10 minutes. Those are allowed?
They still need to be checked. This can't go through.
It's food. Final boarding call for flight 482. Please, that's my flight. They're boarding now.
I still have to verify this.
Final boarding.
What you just saw is exactly what catches travelers off guard. Your carry-on does not have to contain something prohibited for TSA to pull it off the belt. Sometimes the item is completely permitted. Sometimes it meets the carry-on rules perfectly. But if something inside your bag is difficult to interpret on the scanner, needs to be separated, or has a specific screening requirement, an officer may still need a closer look. And when that happens, allowed and quick become two very different things. That's what this video is about. 7 ordinary carry-on items that can be allowed through airport security, but can still create extra screening if they're packed in a way that makes them harder to evaluate. And number 7 is one of the strangest examples on TSA's list, because it can meet the carry-on requirements and still be the kind of thing an officer may want to examine more closely. Let's start with something that's probably already in your bag. Phone charger, tablet cable, laptop power brick, headphones, watch charger, maybe a cable from something you don't even remember packing. Individually, none of these things is unusual. The problem starts when all of them end up twisted together at the bottom of your carry-on, mixed with keys, coins, electronics, adapters, and other dense objects. Airport screening isn't simply asking one question: is this object allowed? The officer also needs to be able to understand what they're seeing inside your bag. And when several cables, plugs, and electronic components are packed into one tangled mass, you're creating unnecessary visual clutter. That doesn't mean tangled charging cords automatically guarantee your bag will be searched. They don't. But if you're trying to make your carry-on as easy to screen as possible, this is one of the simplest problems to eliminate. Coil each cable separately. Use a small electronics organizer. Keep chargers together instead of scattering them through the suitcase. And avoid throwing loose coins, keys, and random metal objects into the same compartment. You're not trying to hide anything from the scanner. You're doing the opposite. You're making ordinary objects look like ordinary objects. And if an officer does want another look, you're able to remove one organized pouch instead of standing at the inspection table untangling 6 different cables. But cords aren't the only ordinary thing travelers misunderstand. The next one looks like food to you, but airport security may treat it like a liquid or gel. Number 2, peanut butter, hummus, and other spreadable foods. Imagine packing a jar of peanut butter because you want to make a sandwich during your trip. It's food. It doesn't look like a drink. And it certainly doesn't feel like the bottle of shampoo sitting in your bathroom. But for carry-on screening, creamy and spreadable foods can fall under the liquids and gels rules. That means items such as peanut butter, hummus, creamy dips, and similar spreads generally need to be in containers of 3.4 ounces, or 100 milliliters, or less when you take them through security in your carry-on. So a small travel-size portion can be permitted. A full-size jar is a completely different situation. If the container is over the carry-on limit, don't expect saying, "But it's food," to change how it's treated. A larger container belongs in checked baggage instead. And here's another useful detail. Even food that is allowed may sometimes need to be separated from the rest of your bag during screening. So if you're carrying several snacks, don't bury them beneath your clothing. Keep them together somewhere accessible. The lesson here is simple. Don't only ask whether something is food. Ask what kind of food it becomes for airport security purposes. A solid sandwich and a large jar of creamy spread are not treated the same way. And if that surprised you, the next category causes even more confusion. Number 3. Large containers of powder. Protein powder, powdered supplements, ground coffee, baby powder, drink mixes, and other powder-like substances. Powder isn't automatically prohibited, but larger quantities have additional screening considerations. Once a powder-like substance exceeds approximately 12 ounces or 350 milliliters, you may need to separate it for screening, and additional inspection may be required. The container may also need to be opened. That doesn't mean an officer has decided your protein powder is dangerous. It simply means the material may require more information before the screening process is complete. Now imagine 2 travelers carrying the exact same large container. The first traveler buries it underneath 2 sweaters, shoes, toiletries, and a laptop sleeve. If the officer wants to look at the powder, half the suitcase has to come apart before anyone can even reach it. The second traveler keeps the container accessible and already understands that it may need additional screening. Same item, very different experience. So if a large container of powder isn't essential in your carry-on, checked baggage may be the easier option. If you do need it with you, don't hide it underneath everything else. Keep it accessible and be prepared for the possibility that it may need a closer look. That preparation is much easier than standing beside an open suitcase wondering why the officer is asking about your protein powder. Now, the first 3 items involved clutter, consistency, and specific screening rules. The next one is different. It's a packing method that can become a problem the moment somebody needs to see what's inside it. Number 4. Vacuum-sealed clothing bags. You've probably seen this travel trick. Put bulky sweaters, jackets, or other clothing into a compression bag. Remove the air, and suddenly, everything takes up a fraction of the space. It can be incredibly useful. And vacuum-sealed clothing bags can be permitted. But here's the problem. If an officer needs to inspect what's inside that compressed bag, it may have to be opened. Think about what that means in real life. At home, you carefully pack everything. You compress several days of clothing into one neat brick. You squeeze out every bit of air. You close your carry-on. And everything just barely fits. Then airport security needs the bag opened. Now you're standing at a metal inspection table trying to reproduce the packing job you spent 20 minutes perfecting at home. Nothing about your clothing was prohibited. The problem is that a space-saving method can become extremely inconvenient when additional inspection is required. So if you're using compression bags in a carry-on, don't pack your suitcase so tightly that opening one bag destroys the entire system. And never assume that because something is sealed, airport security won't open it if necessary. Security screening comes before your packing arrangement. Vacuum bags can save space. Just remember, space-saving and screening-friendly are not always the same thing. The next item might be even more surprising because it looks completely harmless. Number 5. Books and thick stacks of paper. A paperback novel doesn't exactly scream airport security problem. Neither does a notebook, or a binder, or a folder full of documents. But books and dense collections of paper can sometimes need to be removed or examined separately. And this makes more sense when you think about how you've packed them. One thin book sitting near the top of a bag is easy to reach. But 3 heavy books, a thick binder, and a stack of paperwork compressed into one dense section of a suitcase create a very different screening situation. So if you're traveling with several books or a large amount of paperwork, don't build one solid block at the bottom of your carry-on. Keep the material accessible. If an officer asks you to remove it, you should be able to do that without unpacking your entire suitcase. This can matter especially for travelers carrying business documents, medical records, printed itineraries, notebooks, or several books for a long flight. There's nothing inherently prohibited about carrying paperwork, but that's the distinction running through this entire video. Allowed doesn't mean nobody will ever need another look. And once you understand that, getting asked to remove a book becomes much less mysterious. Now let's move to something equally ordinary. Something you might buy in a grocery store and never imagine could complicate airport screening. Number 6. Canned food. A can looks simple. It's sealed. It's labeled. You bought it from a normal store. But canned foods can sometimes create additional screening issues depending on the contents, how the item appears during screening, and whether liquids or gels inside the container bring the carry-on liquids rules into play. That's why canned food is one of those items where "I bought this at a supermarket" doesn't automatically answer the airport security question. The contents matter. The amount of liquid matters. And the screening result matters. So if you're bringing canned specialty food, a souvenir, or something you absolutely don't want to risk losing at the checkpoint, consider whether checked baggage is the better place for it. And if you're unsure about a particular item, look it up before leaving for the airport. The worst time to discover that the contents of your can create a problem is when your suitcase is already open on the inspection table. Normal at home doesn't always mean effortless at security. And now we get to number 7. It fits in your hand. People buy them on vacation all the time. It looks completely harmless, and it has one of the strangest carry-on rules you're likely to encounter. Number 7. A snow globe. Yes, a snow globe. Certain small snow globes can travel in carry-on baggage, but there are very specific conditions. The amount of liquid needs to appear to be 3.4 ounces, 100 milliliters or less. A useful comparison is roughly the size of a tennis ball. But that's not the only requirement. The entire snow globe, including the base, needs to fit inside your quart-size resealable liquids bag with your other qualifying liquids. And that's the part people can easily miss. Imagine standing at airport security with a tiny glass globe containing a miniature landmark, glitter, and a little liquid. Nothing dangerous, nothing intentionally hidden. But whether it belongs in your carry-on can come down to the size of the object and whether the whole thing fits into your liquids bag. If your snow globe is larger than that, checked baggage is the safer place for it. And even if you followed the size rule correctly, remember the bigger point of this video. A permitted item can still receive additional screening if an officer needs more information. So if you're carrying a small snow globe, don't bury it underneath everything else. Check the size before you leave. Make sure the entire globe, base included, fits where it needs to fit. Because with this item, simply saying, "The liquid is under 3.4 ounces," isn't the whole rule. The entire object matters. So before your next flight, take one more look through your carry-on. But don't only ask, "Is anything in here prohibited?" Ask another question. Is everything in here easy to screen? Wrap your charging cords instead of letting them turn into a knot. Keep creamy and spreadable foods within the carry-on liquids limit. Know that larger quantities of powder may require additional screening. Remember that vacuum-sealed clothing bags may need to be opened. Keep books and thick paperwork accessible. Think carefully before putting canned food into your carry-on. And if you're bringing home a snow globe, remember the tennis ball comparison and make sure the entire thing fits inside your quart-size liquids bag. None of this means your bag will be searched. That's important. There isn't some secret rule saying every traveler with a charger, a book, or a snow globe automatically gets pulled aside. What these items have in common is much simpler. They can create situations where an officer may need more information before your screening is complete. And that's why the best carry-on isn't simply one containing nothing prohibited. It's one organized well enough that ordinary things are easy to identify and easy to reach. Now I want to hear from you. What's the strangest, completely ordinary item that has ever caused your bag to get pulled aside at airport security? Was it a charger, food, powder, books, or something that wasn't even on this list? Tell me in the comments. I read them, and sometimes the best ideas for the next video come directly from what happened to you at the airport. And if this helped you avoid a headache before your next checkpoint, subscribe to Off the Records Travel. Every week, we break down the small airport rules and packing details that can turn into big delays when you don't know about them. And if you've ever had a TSA officer start asking questions and you weren't sure what you should or shouldn't say, the next video is for you. Because we're breaking down the airport security questions that catch travelers completely off guard.